maybe yes, we can move them if people aren't coming, because we're...
Well, good morning. My name is Lituania, Alicea, and I'm going to talk about how to start a campaign. Well, we start our campaign because in the 1936, the government of Puerto Rico proposed a program named Manos a la Obra that for the industrialization of the country. And that makes that the people of the countryside of the island moves to the city and populate all these around the Martin Peña channel. In the Martin Peña channel, and that makes that the Martin Peña channel contaminate in the channel. Before of that contamination, people learn to swim, fish, and sail. And the channel had 100 to 200 feet of weight. And now that this is the feet that they have in the 1936, and now the Martin Peña channel is just this. This over here. And that makes the most populated area in Puerto Rico and the most contaminated channel in Puerto Rico. And the 65 of the homes are poverty levels. 48 residents only complete 9th grade. 23 thousand inhabitants in white communities.
That's 3,000 houses discharge their sanitary waters directly into the channel, and then that is equivalent to 2 million coliform bacteria per milliliter. The coliform bacteria are the ones that live in our poop? Yeah. Yeah. So it makes an area that is very contaminated.
So they don't have the
people aren't connected to the sanitary system. So people even pay for the sanitary system but aren't connected. So because the community was built by the people, and the government helped in doing the land filling, but it was done by people, so there's no proper sanitary system. That's the Martin Peña.
This is the Martin Peña channel that it's full of trash because here it are used like dump site for the Martin Peña community and other communities that came with trucks with trash and deposit in the Caño Martin Peña channel. And that makes that when it rains, all the communities around the Martin Peña channel report flooring. And 39% of the house report flooring between 1 and to 20 times during the year. And this made us to start our campaign. And for start a campaign, we have to have a plan, and this plan begins with goals. Our goals to start our campaign are promote our ecology within the 8 communities surrounding the Martin Peña channel, prevent contamination of the Martin Peña channel, promote local consumption and production of food in the communities surrounding the Martin Peña channel.
So the idea was to create sustainable communities surrounding the Martin Peña channel, but we are using this as an example for you to think about your cause and then list the goals for your campaign. So maybe think of something that you're interested in promoting or doing, or something that you are already doing. Does everyone have a pen? Let me look for the tables. Red pen. Okay, 5 minutes to think of your goals and your no. You can think a little bit more, but then we're gonna share. I mean, think about something, not the Martin Peña channel, but of something that's local to you. Something that you would like to achieve wherever you are. It could be with animals, it could be with forests, it could be with a bicycling club, it could be, I don't know, whatever you like. Maybe you can share with him, and then estoy haciendo hacerlo. ¿Cómo que no está bien? So let me explain again, just in case. Your cause would be, think about something that you would like to start, a project that you would like to start, or a campaign. And then list the goals of your campaign, like what things do you want to achieve. But it's anything that you want. Or maybe it's something that you already are doing, and you want to, plan it out a little bit more. I'm going to use you as an example. She said, stop animal trafficking. That would be a campaign. We're going to share. And then this is what we've been using for different campaigns, so that you have it. Uno también. Okay, everyone's finished? Okay. Until what time is it actually?
3:15.
Huh?
3:15.
No, but just presentation.
12:10.
Okay, just to make sure it's alright. Because everyone told me like a different time.
Yeah, 12:10.
Okay, everyone finished?
Yeah.
At least with the cost and the, you don't have to do everything still. The cost and the goals. Yeah? Okay. Who wants to start? Okay.
Okay, so I said that
If
our
you
club
can stand up here so they can tell me. Sure. Go ahead.
No, we can do this. Wait, where's the camera? This?
no, it's the
Use my phone or the
tripod.
webcam, whatever, whichever. Back.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually mentioned the club that I'm currently in, and that's Snacks for Tots. So it's basically giving food to children like Harvey and that actually need the necessities. And so one of our goals is to feed young children with like necessary food. So sometimes we give like packs of food with like beans and rice because those are foods that people use every day. And so this helps to like, because it's especially important for young children to have their nutrients want to grow and to like develop. So that's like a very important like part of the club. And so what I want to achieve is that a lot of children are being fed and that they're like not lacking in nutrients. And then for school,
Where's the,
like this is in the club, like
but what country? In
like
here?
here.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I go to school here. And so, and usually like for the who we're working with, this is just a school club.
Okay, wait.
Sorry.
Stay, just list the goals for now.
Oh,
Then
okay.
we can.
Okay, so yeah, the goal is just
Okay.
to feed the children.
Cool.
I can go. So I'm currently in the Operation Smile Club, and it's just to help kids with cleft lip and palate. And I'm pretty sure all of you know that. Yeah. So some of the goals is we're just trying to raise money for the surgeries, reduce base cells, fibrosis, etc. And also create awareness. But we've already done that in our school, and like we're also example legal. But yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, what I want to do is help protect the wildlife in Santo Domingo,
Okay.
especially the animals in dangerous species. And what my goal would be to increase the population of the animals that are in danger and to raise awareness in the community.
And is there a specific animal or just in general? Okay.
My goal is to have everybody literate in the Dominican Republic and make public schools better, to have a better education system and just basically improve the education in general in the Dominican Republic.
Okay. Cool.
We are in a club in our school, and our goal is to reduce or eliminate the plastic in school. We want to stop that. So our goals are long-term being the first plastic-free school in our city.
Which is?
Medellin.
Ah.
We want to be an influence to other schools and other people, and we want to eliminate the plastic in everything, which will help environment because plastic is other
Go ahead.
Well, actually, my main goal is just motivate the students from my school to engage other students to be part of different community service, helping the community and the school where I work and where they study.
So my cause would be to regulate Isla pollution, and Isla is a factory where I come from, which is Curacao, and basically our school's really close to that, and when the wind change turns, we get a lot of the air pollution that we produce, and it comes to us, and it gets really tough to breathe sometimes. It's really gross.
Yeah.
And so I would like to help reduce the air pollution that comes out of Isla.
Okay. Very nice.
Stop animal trafficking,
Mm-hmm.
and basically the goals are to reduce the number of animals being trafficked and help stop the illegal trafficking because it is illegal but people still do it.
Mm-hmm.
And only like transport animals for very important reasons, not just like because you want an exotic animal. And make the living conditions better because usually on the journey most of the animals die.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I want to achieve like just help the animals and stop the killing of so many.
Okay. Are there any specific animals or in general?
In general, there are specific animals I think being trafficked that I think Perez are trafficked the most, but just generally animals.
Okay.
Yeah. My cause is to help give education to the ones in need, which is actually my project for this in contest. Those two are my colleagues.
Okay, Curacao.
Yeah.
Okay.
My goals are to be able to help them and become a successful graduate, have a degree, and go to good college and have a good life later on, and help make them happy, And because there's a lot of kids and really want education, they cannot afford it, and that's why I want to help. And what I want to achieve is to also sponsor as much kids as we can, because I can see someone really want education. I mean, that is what they need for the future. I mean, if no education, you won't get the job that you would like and what you dreamed of doing. So yeah, that's what I want to.
Okay, then un aplauso for everyone. So in general, there's very good causes, but remember that goals need to be very, very specific because you need to, for example, fund a specific project or get people involved in something very specific. Most have been very specific, but just to keep that in mind. Since really talking about campaign planning takes quite a bit of time, so that this manual has helped a lot in the way that we plan. It's from an organization in Canada and the US called Sierra Club. And they do a lot of environmental advocacy. So it might help in general in terms of planning your campaign. There's campaigns from education to biodiversity and different things, but this helps with anything. I know that there are already programs. For example, there's the alphabetization program running here in Dominican Republic. So maybe some would be how to make even better the things that are already running, and then others to actually start campaigns like the one in Isla. Okay. So in terms of the goals, for example, in the Caño Martín Peña, it's pretty specific in terms of the vegetable gardens because vegetable gardens prevent contamination in the land and in the water. They clean. So it's to start different gardens, etc. And
well, then that we have our goals, we plan our campaign with all the community and that are affected with the contamination. We capacitate people inside and outside the community and promote other
I think what Lituania is saying is super important, that sometimes we go into, we think that we know what is needed, and we don't take into account what people really are wanting. So I participated, for example, in a project where another organization, and we were doing vegetable gardens in Mexico, and another organization was doing stoves, and they did the stoves very high. They didn't even ask people, and women were very short. So people started using the stoves as tables and not as stoves. So it's very important to take into account what are the needs in the community that we are working in before deciding from ourselves what do we want, you know. And I think in terms of the Martin Peña channel, there's two programs, Huertos del Caño, which is a community-based program, and then EDRA, which is more a project that the students are leading and doing themselves. This is, for example, the project is to actually rescue spaces that are vacant in the community. And
well, the clubs that we are in our network, that is here, started with EDRA, and these other two schools that are EDRA 2, Santiago Iglesias Pantin, that is
with patrulleros.
Patrulleros.
So all of the green spots are, well, they don't look very green in the picture now, but sort of green-ish squares are where the vegetable gardens are in the community. And then bueno, eso va a circular por ahí para abajo. Yeah. And then the community decides how they want to do it. So there's a problem with too many tires in the community. So instead of using other things to plant, since we have to plant high because of the flooding, people decided to plant in the tires. So,
well, we plan together with the community and involve crucial actors and diverse communities from the beginning. Here we are making
a map of where people wanted to put the vegetable gardens, etc. It's a little bit what Pedro does. So, and now we go to our allies and the people that we need to convince, which is here. Maybe some of you already wrote about that. So who are our allies in terms of the Martin Peña channel? There's a few. The Proyecto Elisa, which were specifically in the Martin Peña channel, EDRA. And who do we need? Well, the Department of Agriculture, the municipal government, the Department of Education, Cuerpo de Ingenieros, which is the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, because they're the owners of the wetlands in Puerto Rico. So who did you put as allies and not yet? Okay, then let's have a minute to put in possible allies, organizations that you could work with, people, groups that might exist in your school, organizations that exist in Dominican Republic for wildlife, organizations that might exist for alfabetización, groups that live near the isla plant, and other maybe organizations that work with education, possible allies that you need. You already exist. And then esto con ustedes es más sencillo porque están es bueno porque es un proyecto que sabes palpable por la letra.
Green Force. No, Green Force is...
You don't know any? Reach también. Pero ellos trabajan con investigación de biodiversidad en Yolanda León, del Grupo Jaragua. Grupo Jaragua.do. Y aunque no sepas como, even though you might not know specific allies, just put in general, like, well, I would need to call organizations that work with pollution, or I would need to call the municipality. I would need to call different people that could be your allies, or that already are. But then, also, there's the people that we need to convince. So, that includes a bunch of other people. That might be a fortunate ally eventually, or might be an opponent. Yeah? Finished? Yo creo que ya está terminando. Yeah? Everyone finished? Okay, who wants to start? You guys already have it down. You can start. Or you guys. Yo creo que ya iba a empezar.
Our allies are the school,
Ay,
management, and the teachers. But our opponents are the students because they don't agree with us because they want their sodas and all the things that come with the plastic. So they cannot be taking out
and that's an interesting example of how you can make your opponent an ally. So in the guide, there's a little bit about that information. But basically, how then do you convince the people that they don't need convincing? ¿Quién más? O ya.
Since it's school clubs, sometimes we team up with other clubs in the school to help raise money. Or so basically, our school in general is involved, and sometimes we can get sponsors from people. Once to raise money, maybe there's a restaurant here. We work with them, like the John Rockets, and so sometimes for the waitresses. So some of the proceeds went to our club, so that helps raise money. And so I guess another idea is that we get involved with other schools, not just our school, but maybe other schools can help us, so that we have more people. And then if there are more people, we can distribute more food and go to more places as well. And for opponents, I didn't really know what to say.
Okay.
I don't really know who wouldn't want children to have food. But I guess
You would be surprised.
I think it's too costly. If it costs too much money to support others, because usually you buy it for yourself, and maybe it's too much to try to invest your own money into someone else. So that's why I said.
Okay.
For allies, I said other Operation Smile clubs around the country, because I know there are a few. Also other Operation Smile organizations around the whole world. I guess the health organization in here. And for opponents, I'm not sure, because I don't think the government is against us.
Okay. You will be surprised again. No, it's just that sometimes there are opponents that we would never imagine, and then that sometimes, do oppose things that are very beneficial for the world. But maybe it's something that you can think about, because it's important to know allies and opponents very well, to then know who do you need more convincing, or who do you need to have more care in the way that you are talking about your campaign, etc. Que ya casi. ¿Qué pasa? Okay.
For allies, if there's any animal organizations, like you said, Grupo Jaragua, CSAs, and animal hospitals, or I'm not sure for opponents, maybe people who don't really care about nature that much.
Okay. Maybe also in terms of allies, it was good about the veterinarians and everything, because maybe in terms of centers for caring for certain species, then you can start, different initiatives.
I'd say the government, some public schools, some volunteers, and alfabetización, and something early. The program,
Alphabetization.
Buena alfabetización.
Exacto.
Sí, we have an alphabetization program in the Working Community. It's pretty not easy to start, but it's something that is very realistic to start, just like the plastic bags, or to work with the different groups. And there is a big program now in Dominican Republic with
This is a tough job, like when you try to alphabetize a person who's never gone to school, and then because the first step is try to just give to this person motivation and make him or her understand why it is important for him, for her.
Yeah, we can talk about the program in Puerto Rico also. And opponents. Who do you think could oppose an alphabetization program?
I can't really think of anybody. It would benefit everybody.
Yeah.
And we have the whole population of the Dominican Republic alphabetized.
But you would be amazed also. But really with the opponents, it's more things like your case, where there are specific opponents that are important to convince.
Like, for example, in her case, she'll have to face
big industry,
a lot of big interests, money interested, and power.
Yeah. So in our, it's not the same campaign, but we did to convince a bunch of people to protect the Northeastern Ecological Corridor. That was a big deal. That was a big list of opponents and a big list of allies, because from the coalition as allies, that's another possibility, to form a coalition, and that way you have more people invested in your project. And then the opponents, obviously, sometimes are even the legislature and people who you would think that wouldn't oppose a project. ¿Pero quieren ir ustedes?
So for me, I would say my allies are the community that live around Isla, who have to constantly breathe this air, and most of them are getting really sick and getting cancer because of it. This organization called Green Town, who have been working for years already, trying to basically get the government to basically clear out the entire factory to build a green community there. My opponents would be the factory itself, because the factory brings a huge income for the country. It's one of the biggest sources of money for the entire Curacao. So I guess Isla and the government would be my biggest opponents.
Okay, then you need to study the mineral well. But we can keep in touch, because we've done a lot of that.
For me, it's allies like GIN. Animal shelters, PETA, is people for the ethical treatment of animals. And animal rights NGOs or activists. Opponents would be animal traffickers, circusers, because in circuses the animals are trafficked and they're treated really badly. Because you have to train them and they hit them and abuse them. Certain pet shops, because sometimes the animals are trafficked. People who want exotic animals that have to be trafficked in, and certain governments.
Yeah.
My allies are non-governmental organization, where it's NGO. That's where we work with to sponsor kids, and also GIN.
Yeah.
My opponents, I don't really have an opponent, but I can say depends on the government itself.
Yeah.
Because some governments don't want to sponsor kids who have education, because they say they don't want to waste the money in this country. Like some governments don't want to build public schools for them to at least able to start education, and they sometimes think no.
Yeah. So that's a good list of allies and opponents. Un nuevo aplauso for everyone.
Sometimes you have opponents that you never thought you were going to have. For example,
So
in your
think
case,
big, think
we
big.
have the same students that are opposed to not using plastic bottles.
Yeah. But there are always alternatives. So in these types of things, you have to be very creative in the way that you are dealing with the different initiatives. So, no sé. So this is a little bit about the initiative and what's going on in the campaign. And then the next one.
This is our project in the Alicea school. We're here, and we are training the trainers. So they can train other people in the community.
That's a little bit about the project.
And we also have sales, and we have products that we sell that may
Help the project to be sustainable.
This is our clubs selling our product and making the hot sauce. This is me and other partner making presentations in the UPR University. And we also get to the communications, to the television, radio, and that things for help us to our project.
And that is in terms of the example, but we wanted to make sure that everyone had in mind a good target. So you need to have a specific target that's in the page. I think it's the third page. Just to make sure who would be the decision makers. So who would be the people who would influence the public or influence in your specific campaigns. For example, in Isla, which I guess is one of the more kind of like specific campaigns that are more towards opposers and allies, who would be the target? Who do you need to convince for the plan to shut down?
Isla and
Okay.
Actually, I think it's the government because Isla is from Venezuela originally, and then they're just working with the government.
Yeah, you'd have to convince Isla itself, like the heads of Isla themselves, to help you talk to the government in order for the government to want to shut down, since it's such a big source of money for the government.
And again, he is right in the sense of if the government decides to shut down the plant, then they need to leave. It's not, so the plant will probably never want to leave. So you need to convince and maybe create a law, etc., to actually shut down the. We're almost finished, but basically to study a little bit the targets, who is your audience, inside and outside your specific community. So, for example, maybe the kids in the school aren't collaborating in certain ways, but maybe you can give a workshop to the parents, to the shops that are selling the produce with the plastic so that they don't sell it, and then recruiting and planning out your specific campaign. So you need to be very specific and plan out everything very well. If you have any questions about your campaigns per se, you can email us at, let me give you one. to specific allies or people that you would need to work with, or ideas for one things. Thank you. Gracias. Thank you. ¿Ah? Gaia. Sí. Gracias. Okay. Ciao. Thank you. So there's more of these if you want to take to other people.